Okay, good evening. Um, I'm going to be on the road tomorrow. I'm heading up to the UP, so I won't be doing my normal live show at 7:30. But I wanted to get a fishing report out there for you guys. I talked to a lot of people the last couple days. Fishing in some areas is okay, and in other areas not so good. We're going to start out in the South Haven. The salmon fishermen are getting decent catches in the 120 feet of water range. Meat rigs and flies are catching the lion's share. Um, Try greens, blues, and occasional oranges. And unfortunately, the perch are still pretty slow, and they're getting them in 30 to 50 feet of water. St. Joe's, again, salmon fishing is pretty good in the 80 to 130 feet of water. Flies, spoons, Flies and spoons are filling the coolers here. Green UV, blue UV, and glows. They're taking the bigger shares. The perch are still slow there as well. They're fishing 30 to 50 feet of water for them, and it's real hit or miss and spotty. Grand Haven, they're getting lots of kings. 80 to 150 or 140 feet of water, 55 to 100 feet down. Glow spoons, greens, and whites. The flies that they're trolling are white with the rotator boards, like a Hoochie Mama or Beckler, some spin doctors, and then they're getting a few meat rigs as well. You may want to try some chrome blue or chrome green plugs down in this area. I have a feeling that's going to start taking off. Um, with the reports that I got from a few guys that I know down there, the way the fish are biting, I think them plugs are going to take off, so you might want to try those. Um, let's see. Muskegon, mixed bag of salmon and trout, 90 to 140 feet of water, 50 to 95 feet down. Spoons, flies, and meat are all working. Glows, chromes, greens, and blues. The greens and blues are pretty much standard this time of year. Um, it's just the way it runs. Alright, I got no report out of Pentwater. Ludington's, it's hit or miss action. Um, this report for Ludington is also going to affect Manistee, Frankfort. We had some really strange winds um, come in over the week, last weekend, and it brought colder water temperatures in finally. But what it did is we've got no even temperatures. You'll be trolling in 50 feet of water where the temperature is good, and you'll troll a couple hundred yards, and all of a sudden, temperature shot up, um, and it's like that everywhere. The bait fish don't seem to mind it much. I was out Tuesday night, no Monday night, and I graphed bait fish everywhere, and water temperature didn't seem to matter to them. Now, I was fishing out of Frankfort, um, but I didn't graph any fish in the warmer water. I definitely graphed fish out deeper, and I graphed a lot of lake trout. I know they were lake trout; they were sitting on the bottom, but I graphed a lot of salmon that were down within 5-10 feet of the bottom. I graphed salmon that were 15 feet down. I ended up with 4 hits total. Um, didn't land any of them, didn't fight any of them, um, but I had a good time out there. So, in Ludington, you got to try straight out, 130 to 200 feet of water, 40 to 90 down. And then if you want run down to Big Sable Point, uh, try 90 to 140 feet of water, or jump out to 180 to 230 feet of water. In both areas, they're fishing 35 to 60 down. But again, pay attention to the bait fish. In that area, the bait fish are going to dictate where you're fishing at, because that's what's holding the salmon around. And again, you may go out and set up, and you set up on a pot of fish and pull 3 or 4 real quick, and then you might not get nothing for hours until you troll back through that area. But the fish might not even be in that area because they are moving, and they're moving fast. And that particular part of the report applies to Manistee and to Frankfort as well. They're fishing 35 to 60 down, again, in that area. Okay, Manistee, again, hit or miss, same reasons. The fish are in small pods. Once you find them, it's on, but they are moving, and they're moving fast. Right now the guys are starting out in 90 to 150 feet of water, 30 to 70 feet down. Flies and meat rigs are taking the lion's share there. Spoons are hit or miss, but you need to drag them. You really do. And they're getting some fish on plugs. It's a real mixed bag out there, so expect coho things to happen. They are getting a few coho there. I think the plugs are going to take off, but you got to find the fish. And we're still waiting for the big amount to come in with the water temperature changes. It's going to level out here sooner or later. That'll bring more fish in. I did notice there is more fish in the harbor at Frankfort than there's been in the last couple of weeks. We do always get a few fish in there that tend to play that game. They just get antsy. So Onekama, I got a report from Onekama this week. The guys are getting some fish straight out, 150 to 250 feet of water, 20 to 50 down, so they're actually getting them kind of high out there. Spoons and meat with greens and blues as the colors. Frankfort, it's slow out there. We have mixed temperatures. That part I know. Guys seem to be fishing 120 to 200 foot range. Some guys are doing good 25 to 50 feet down. Others are 65 to 100 down. Expect to search for the fish. The lake trout, they're still doing real well. Getting down toward the bottom. A lot of guys are jigging them out there and having a blast. And they're getting a few steelhead dragging shallow lines with the old standby of orange. Okay, Charlevoix, the fishing is good, 70 to 130 feet of water, mixing up the depths to 120 down. You're going to want to set them at all various lengths. If you start graphing a bigger amount of fish at like 50 feet down, that's where you want to be in that area, from 40 to 60 down. But they're all over the map up there. So the Petoskey area, they're doing good in the bay, Little Traverse Bay. They're getting a lot of smaller salmon and only a few of the bigger fish, but it is a mixed bag, and they've even caught a few browns up there. So the best thing I can tell you to do, because the depths are constantly changing from the 3 people I talked to that were fishing up there this week, and they told me that if I was to go up there, watch for the line of boats, because you go out at 6 o'clock in the morning, they might be 80 feet of water, but if you go out in the evening, they're going out a little bit further. Apparently they're following around charter boats. I don't know, but they said to watch for the line of boats. I would go farther ahead instead of relying on other boats, because we don't know who the first guy is out there, if he's catching fish or if he's just fishing, and then the next guy comes in, oh, there's a boat, and gets over by him, and you end up with 20 boats, none of them know what they're doing, and there ain't no fish in the area. My best bet is to talk to some locals, bait shops, or if you get there the night ahead of time, find the local bar that the guys are hanging out in, talk to some of the locals, see if they'll give you at least a starting point. Petoskey area, that's going to be hit or miss on whether or not they're going to feed you any information, but the bait shops and tackle shops will. Another thing is some of the boat launches up in that area, they got cleaning stations. That's a good thing to watch too. Guys that are cleaning fish love to talk about where they got them, so there's more information too. All right, going around now to Sheboygan. Sheboygan, you're gonna have to search for fish. They're getting them 75 to 175 feet of water, 30 to 60 down, greens, blues, and flies, and some meat rig action. Okay, Rogers City is a whole lot better fishing. Same ranges, but they're getting a real mixed bag there. They're getting a little bit of everything, and that'd be the place to fish this week, according to everything that I've been told. So, Alpena, they're getting a few salmon. They're being caught in 80 to 120 feet of water, 50 to 60 feet down. Spoons, flies, greens, whites, and glows. Also, they're getting lake trout out there pretty consistently on spinning glows. They're dragging black, what I was told, firetail. So if you know what that one is, if not, it's probably a local name. But just stop in at a bait shop; they'll set you up. Let's see, they're getting a few walleye while they're trolling for their Atlantic salmon, and then there's some guys walleye fishing out there, 30 to 50 feet of water. That action in itself, if you're just targeting the walleye, is considered slow. They're using harnesses and crankbaits, with harnesses out producing the crankbaits, which that's normally kind of normal for walleye this time of year. Oscoda, they're getting a few walleye in and around the mouth of the AuSable River, and out in the lake. They're getting lake trout and steelhead, and a very few salmon out to 140 feet of water. So a lot of the guys are trolling right from the mouth out to 140 feet of water. It has been decades since I fished over there. I don't even remember how far out you got to go for 140 feet of water in that area anymore. But I'm assuming a mile, mile and a half probably. And they're fishing 80 feet down. So, but again, that area was real slow last week, so now they're starting to get some fish. Them fish are they're gonna start staging. Oh, you'll probably see them if it's anything like Platte. Right around August 12th, 13th, they'll find a deep hole someplace and start staging to make their run up the AuSable River. The AuSable River always gets a good run of fish, and them fish are going to stack up out there. So it's just a matter of time. I wouldn't be hesitant to throw a J-plug out there on a 10 color and drag that around. My bet would be chrome with blue. That's where I would start with that on there. Tawas are getting walleye limits out in 50 to 70 feet of water using crawler harnesses, and they're getting a few on spoons and crankbaits as well. But the key is slow trolling, 1.5 miles an hour to 1.8. Normally with the harnesses it's 1.7 to 1.9, maybe 2.0, and then the crankbait you get 2.0 to 2.2. Hi Bill, how you doing? But they're slow trolling, so it's the dog days of summer. You know, the fish are getting lazy. They don't like the heat any more than we do, I guess. Augray, a few walleye are being reported on harnesses and crankbaits. The perch are slow. I've not fished in a boat out of Augray yet, but I'm going to assume you're going to want to find 30 plus feet of water this time of year. Little Bay Denok, we're going to jump right up because I got no further reports down south that's worth even talking about. You know, Lake St. Clair is Lake St. Clair. You're going to get your walleye, you're going to get your smallmouth. St. Clair River, Detroit River, Lexington, Port Sanilac, they're going to have salmon right now. It's going to be hit or miss out there. Perch are going to be slow, but I got no actual reports. Guys didn't fish this week, so Little Bay Denok, they're getting good walleye bite. They're not the super big fish. They're coming in 18 to 21 inches long, good eating size, but they're getting a lot of limits. They're using harnesses mostly on those, and the perch are slow, but they are picking up a jumbo here and there. Lake Superior shoreline. The reports I got are a few days old. And the guys were basically honest about that, and they said they've had some wind in there that have stirred things up. There's fish being caught just about every port along Lake Superior. A lot of the fish are lake trout, but they are getting really good salmon action. And my buddy up in Marquette and another buddy of mine in this town east of Munising. The heck is that? I can't think of the name of it now, but they were out, and what they told me to tell you guys is call ahead to the bait shop, stop in at the bait shop, get a current report. If you see anybody at the boat launch, if you can't find a bait shop open and you're heading out fishing, if you see anybody at the boat launch, ask them, they'll tell you. They'll tell you what's going on, what colors to use. Like I said, them guys up there on Lake Superior, they're really an awesome bunch of people. That's our fishing report for this week. Sorry it's not better, but I don't control the fish. Hey, how you doing? I try. I'm running a day early today because I'm headed up to the UP this weekend. I'm gonna do the Tequamanon Falls thing, try and get some video of that and make a video. And of course I'm gonna try and get some fishing, and I want to get some brook trout. And just got the camper finished a little while ago, so that's been a work in progress to say the least. I just hooked up the lights to my car tonight, and then the lights on the trailer were bad, and I had to go into town and get a little harness for that, but I got some lights, so everything seems to be working on it now. How's the fishing been down there, Big Lake? I think I'm gonna, when I get home from the UP. Yeah, they are. They're my favorite ones to eat as well. I love them just a little bit over legal size. I throw anything over 11 inches, I throw it back. They're better for seed, and I want them like 8, 7, 8, 9-inch ones for the fry pan. Those are the good ones. But I think I'm gonna go grab my 14-foot boat and get that set up. Slow, yeah. This weather's been nuts. You know, like today we went through 4 different temperatures. It started out at 77 today when I went to work. It cooled down to 70, but the humidity jumped. And we had some clouds go by, and then it heated up again, and it did that 3 or 4 different times where the humidity would go up and go down, go up and go down, and it's been raining on and off for the last 3 hours now. But I guess we're supposed to get thunderstorms tonight, thunderstorms tomorrow. I'll probably be driving up to the UP in thunderstorms, just what I want to do. And with my luck, it'll be pouring down rain up there because I'm going to try a pop-up camper that hasn't seen the rain yet. So, yeah, they'll be in Platte Bay here. I can almost set a calendar by it. August 12th, I start fishing Platte Bay out of the Platte River with a little boat, and I've never been skunked ever. And I've heard guys fishing out there on the 11th and catch nothing. It's like a magical time. And they'll stay out in that bay until long after Labor Day. But I used to, when I had my boys fishing with me, we'd go out, we'd get our lines wet right about 6 o'clock at night, and we'd fish until there was always a lot of boats out there, and they make a mad dash to the boat launch. You got to drag your boat across the sandbar at the mouth of the Platte River, and so I always stayed out there a little extra long so I didn't have to sit there and wait. But We always went in with 15 fish. I can't remember a time we didn't get our limit out on Platte Bay, and that was with a 14-foot boat drag with two downriggers, one in each corner, and two small dipsies. And I used the little, what are they, the 3 or 4 inch dipsies. That's all I ever used out there. And we just smashed them. And if we came in with 15 fish, we lost another 15 more. I mean, it was real fast action. I did have to, Monday night I put on Old Reliable. I got sick of trolling around with no bites. And I was trying not to use that spoon this year, but it wasn't in the water 15 minutes. Bzzz, off she goes, but by the time I got there, the fish was gone. And I ended up with like 4 bites the rest of the evening. 2 on my fly, and 2 on the glow spoon. Yeah, I ain't going to Escanaba till the 25th of August. I'm going up there. And I'll have my 14-foot boat for that. I plan on doing some walleye fishing. Where I'll be is by Whitefish Point, Whitefish Bay area. I haven't looked at a weather report. I hate looking at weather report until I'm getting ready to actually do something. I don't know how many times I canceled a fishing trip the night before because they said there's going to be 5-foot waves, and I get out of work after replanning, doing something, and the lake's like glass out there. So yeah, I only tried it for a few minutes. Um, yeah, it'll change by then. I was able to go live from the boat the other day, but I was still in the process of trying to get everything. All right, have a good night, Big Lake. Thanks for stopping in. Good luck fishing out there. But I'm going to start taking my computer out there and using the cam that's the webcam that's on here, and I'll just run live the whole time I'm out there. Just let it run steady. And we'll see if how that goes. And I think we're going to have a lot of fish coming in here in Frankfort in the next few days. I really want to fish this weekend, but I want to camp too. I haven't camped in so long, and I've just got, I just got that bug. So that's what I'm doing this weekend, and then Monday I'll be out there hitting the salmon. But I know it's just a matter of time with the way the water temperature was. It's going to level out. So once it levels out, them fish are coming in. And we'll get out there and make sure we get a few. So how's your week going, Bill? I still gotta find me a coffee pot for over the fire. I got 3 of them someplace. How close are you to the UP? I'm about a 2.5-hour run myself, just to get to across the bridge. I'm expecting a 3-hour run tomorrow, dragging a trailer for the first time with that little Kia that I have. 'Cause I'll be on my way up there. I'm If all goes well, I'll be leaving work a couple hours early tomorrow. But my boss's boat, he's got an ignition problem. The part is no longer available for Mercury, so we're upgrading the ignition system. And I got the distributor in and everything, but it takes different wires, so I had to order wires for it. Hopefully those come in tomorrow. And I told him as long as we get the wires in, I will work on his boat until I get it running before I leave. I'm not going to leave without having that boat running for him. I know he's itching to get out fishing as well. I can't believe Mercruiser, this it's a 350 Chevy engine, running basically an HEI ignition system, and they superseded the little control box. Menominey's an hour, Escanaba's 2 hours. Okay, nice. So you're in the area I want to move to. I'd love to move to that area, right around Menominee, Escanaba area. Well, I want to be in Wisconsin, but anyways, it superseded, and then it's still no longer available. So I started checking years after, and I finally gave up at year 1997. Still no longer available. I don't know what Mercruiser's thinking. I don't know why they ain't got these control boxes. Are they that bad, or what? But I know probably 70% of the Mercruisers I work on run that ignition box, and they're all going to have to update to $800 distributors because Mercruiser don't want to build the part anymore. It's going to make me real hesitant to ever buy a boat with a Mercruiser in it. Yeah, the ignition boxes are $500 a piece, what Mercury charges, and I know they don't cost that much to make. Basically, it's getting a signal from the pickup coil, and the most thing that box does is control the timing, and that's where we're running into a problem. Is he's getting no advance, so he can't get up to a higher RPM. He can troll like crazy right now, but he can't get over 3,500 RPM. Even in neutral on a hose, I can barely get it up past 3,800 RPM. Doesn't matter where the throttle is. And I know it's in that ignition system. It idles too good right now. Yeah, but the thing is the new distributor doesn't come from Mercury. I would never put after what I seen them do to these tens of thousands of Mercruiser engines, I would never put a Mercury ignition system in a boat like that. I'd go aftermarket. You know them aftermarket ones are going to be around. Besides that, if it was a Mercury ignition system, it'd probably be $1,500 to $2,000. But they definitely screwed over a heck of a lot of boaters. And normally you don't see me run Mercury or Mercruiser down, and I'll tell you what, this one's big to me. And his other engine's already been upgraded to a different, let's see, it would have been four superseded parts. His got upgraded to, which means he didn't do it, but the guy that had the boat before him had to buy a wiring harness and the box, and now all that's useless because you can't even get that box anymore. And that box is from a 95. basically any Mercruiser with a carbureted engine is screwed. If you don't have fuel injection, they're not going to have the ignition parts for you. You got to get to that EST ignition, which requires the brain box and everything else, and it's usually only in the fuel injected engines. Yeah, I could have gotten an ignition box on eBay that was still brand new, but they had a picture of the box, and the box looks like it tumbled around in a B-50, tumbled around on the ground after a B-52 did some carpet bombing. So, yeah, I went with an aftermarket distributor. It's a flamethrower distributor. It's for marine use, and we'll see how that goes. You can really play with the timing in it. It's got a centrifugal timing advance, so you can add weights, take away weights, you can lock it in place, and do a lot of stuff with it, and we'll see what we can do for them. But hopefully that wire kit comes in tomorrow. The local auto shop didn't even have a set of wires for a 350 Chevy with that type of cap, and I could have made up some wires, which is always an option, but I'd rather have a set that's sealed for him, because I know he trolls a lot. So well, that's the thing, Bill, is they're not even offering upgraded stuff for these motors. Basically what they want you to do is repower, which is buy a whole new engine for your boat, and people just ain't going to do that for a 25-year-old boat. They're worth doing it, but you know what Mercruiser wants for a repower. You know, if you go and buy a new 350 engine right now, I think they're running right around 18 grand for Mercruiser. Like I told him, as the worst comes to worst, I'll pick up a damn point distributor, seal it, and put that in there. We'll get him running one way or the other. He'll be back out fishing for this weekend one way or another. He didn't want to play with parts or points, so we're trying this other one. I've heard some good things about it, so we'll see what happens about this other distributor. Yeah, it's annoying when they do stuff like that. You know, the sad part is we're talking that boats are basically, you can't buy parts for them. People are still paying on them boats that they bought brand new 25 years ago. A lot of people get 30-year loans on them. And now, you know, they got something useless if their ignition system goes bad, unless they buy an aftermarket ignition system. And the thing is Mercury could easily carry one control box for a V8, one control box for the 6, and one control box for a 4-cylinder, and just have everybody upgrade the harness. That's not a big deal. That's fine. They ain't even doing that. They just completely cut everybody off. I called Old Marina hoping that they'd have one in stock still, and he's like, well, that shouldn't be that hard to get. Yeah, talk to your parts guy, because you can't get them out of Mercury anymore. And he says, well, hang on, I'll transfer you to parts. And he says, better yet, he says, I'm going up there with him with the phone. And they were both really upset over it. They didn't even realize that you couldn't get them parts anymore. They're like, man, what are these people supposed to do? Upgrade to a new ignition system. because we're not an authorized Mercury dealer, so I called somebody that was, just in case there was different superseded parts list. What do you got in it for a transmission? You got the TH350. Yeah, the old GM transmissions were the bread and butter of transmission shops. That's not that hard to rebuild it yourself, Bill. They're surprisingly easy. Hardest part's getting them out of the vehicle. And then you just make sure everything's clean. And I used, the last one I rebuilt was on a 79 Power Wagon. I rebuilt a 727, and the actual rebuild part of it takes less than an hour. And that was on a 4-wheel drive truck. Biggest problem I had was the rear band mount, the overrunning clutch. It was riveted to the case, and those rivets got peeled, so I had to have a professional stake that in a machine shop. That cost me at the time $100. I did that rebuild in 1997, I believe it was. But while I was in there, I replaced all the clutches and everything, even though they weren't bad. It was just that overrunning clutch that was bad. And it's surprisingly easy. Like I said, the hardest part about it is getting the transmission out, and then you're just pushing down pressure on the clutch pack. And I welded a fork with flats on it to a C-clamp. I just squeezed it down, removed the C-clip, let it all loose, pulled them out, put new ones in, did the same thing to compress it. And the rebuild kit itself, I paid, I think, $40 for that one, brand new. Could have gotten as cheap as $25, but I wanted the heavy duty one. And then I put a low stall converter in it too, because I use the truck for snow plowing. I will say the GM transmissions are just a little touch harder than the Chrysler 727, because the valve body on the 727 drops out, so you have that whole open square there where the pan is. You don't have that on the TH350. You got your valve body running in there. Yeah, it's crazy what prices are. But the nice thing is you can tweak it a little bit too, with your shift points and stuff like that, so you can start getting some tire chirping and stuff if you want, or you can tweak it for a little better fuel economy as well. I think that kit is probably just a little bit more money, but you can do it. And then I don't mess around when it's been a few, like I said, since the 90s since I rebuilt a transmission, but I've rebuilt a few of them before. And the first thing I do with a transmission, if the clutches and that have gone bad, I take off the torque converter, throw it in the dumpster, and buy a brand new one. I don't even play around with them. And some of the old Chrysler ones had drains in them, so you could clean them out. I ain't playing that game. They're too cheap, and that way if I tweak something when I was pulling it off and whatnot, I don't have to worry about it. I know at the time I think a torque converter was $90. 86. Well, rebuilt 350, 60,000 silver. got a 4-barrel on there. You could have some fun with that engine. That engine's really tunable. You'd really have that engine turning right around 850 horsepower with not too much money invested in it. But you have to definitely tweak the transmission. Even with my knowledge, I wouldn't even have the experience to tweak a transmission for that kind of horsepower. But originally 305 high output. So you probably got the 4-bolt mains in it then as well. Let's see, if I was building a race engine right now, the first thing I'd do is grab a marine block, because they're all stress relieved. It's a driver, not a racer. Okay. So you want gas mileage, you're going to want a high stalk torque converter. And you'll want to tweak your shifts to shift in at, I would say, a little lower RPM. So it shifts a little faster, but you don't want it to chirp your tires, so you want a smoother shift. You can play with the springs on them check valves, so that every time it shifts gear, it chirps the tires, because it just slams in the gear, but wear out your transmission faster that way. Yeah, and when I was working up there in Traverse City, I replaced a few transmissions in plow trucks. We didn't even rebuild them. They're the new Chrysler ones. I didn't even want to think about rebuilding one of those. But he was buying them online someplace with a nice warranty and getting a really good price on it. So all we did was take the one out, put the new one up in there, and then put the old one in the box and send it back for a core deposit. Yeah, I have no idea on that either. But with the reputation of the TH350, it's got to be an improvement. The Turbo Hydromatic 350 was the bread and butter of every transmission shop out there. You could roll in and usually drive out the same day, because they just pulled your transmission. They had them rebuilt on the shelf and they'd slap one in it. If you had a Chrysler transmission, they had to bench build that one itself. And 727s just hardly ever go. And when they do, they usually peel the overrunning clutch off the casing, or they peel a band. They were a strong transmission that they used to put in them trucks. Now they got a piece of crap in them. Well, I think I'm going to call it a night, because I still got a lot of stuff to do to get ready to go out camping tomorrow. And to everybody that watches this, thank you for watching. Those of you who have subscribed, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Every subscriber I get helps. I do want to start doing live shows from the boat. I got to do some tweaking, but I'll get her figured out. And I'll be doing a camping video coming up here. If I have internet up where I'm going to be through my phone, I may post from up in the UP of Michigan, but If not, it'll probably be up either Monday night or Tuesday night. So, everybody, good luck fishing this weekend. Stay safe out there. And have a good night. Have a good weekend, Bill.